Well, yesterday in Grand Rapids, the Republican gubernatorial candidate Rick Snyder brought out his best pick for a running mate, and it was State Representative Brian Calley from the Portland area of Michigan, the Republican, 33 years old, had 2 terms in the State House, and was running for the State Senate. Candidate Rick Snyder, good morning, and thanks for being available.
Good morning, Michael Patrick. Great to be with you.
Well, Brian Calley emerged as your pick, and the big question that everybody wants to know is why?
Well, it's simple. He is one of the leaders in the legislature today, and he's one of the great future leaders of the state. He's got an outstanding background. He's been very successful in the legislature in terms of building strong relationships with people. And prior to that, he had great private sector experience. He was a community banker, so he understands the issues with small business and what's required to make Michigan successful. So I really look forward to teaming and partnering with Brian on reinventing Michigan.
Is the selection of Brian Calley, since he comes from a banking background, really your way of saying to everyone, it's the economy, stupid?
Well, it was a major positive factor in looking at those things. I mean, he's got a strong educational background, but being a banker working with small business, he understands what it takes to create a business and grow a business, and the comeback of Michigan will be Michiganders creating and growing small businesses.
He seems to be very well liked in the State House and in the State Senate as well. They say that he can work across the aisle while not abandoning his conservative record, which is very solid, as I understand.
Yeah, again, he's got a great track record, and that's someone I was looking for because he's just going to continue that path. I'm very confident of his skill sets, and I look forward to working with him.
A lot of people felt that it was important for you to add somebody with legislative experience to the ticket. And the fact of the matter is, as a second-term member of the House of Representatives, he does have some experience, but he's only 33 years old. That's a youthful choice, to be sure.
Well, that's looking towards Michigan's future. I mean, the thing is we've got great talent in this state, and it's good to bring people in that are younger in that capacity because that's how they have an opportunity to grow and learn. And in my own experiences, when I was 33, I was helping run Gateway Computers. So in many respects, we have to make sure that we don't put an undue bias on someone just because they're young. They can be extremely talented, extremely bright, and do wonderful things.
What sort of role will you have in mind at the moment for Brian Calley as Lieutenant Governor? Would it be a traditional role, or do you have some, you talk about remaking Michigan, will that position also be remade?
Absolutely. It clearly needs to be enhanced in terms of more responsibilities and more involvement. If you look at the challenges we have in Michigan with our government, it is a disaster, and there are only a limited number of roles. We need to be efficient about how we do things, and we need people that are stepping up, fully contributing in every way, possible way they can by being involved. So I look forward to Brian clearly doing the legislative role that's expected of a lieutenant governor, but I want him to make him a partner in the whole process of reinventing our government and our state.
So back in the day when Ronald Reagan used to have lunch with his vice president once a week, you'll be seeing Brian Calley more often than that.
I sure plan on it. I expect to be seeing him almost every day. It's only when one of us would be away traveling around I wouldn't see him.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I know you're hot-footing it this morning. We're going to speak with Brian Calley right now, but we sure appreciate your time this morning.
Well, thank you, Michael Patrick. Great to be with you.
Stay in close touch. That's Rick Snyder, the Republican candidate for governor, here at 26 minutes after the hour. Brian Calley, the state representative who was running for state senate from Portland, is on the other end of our line, too, I think, although that echo could mean that we've lost the line. Brian Calley, are you there?
Yep, I'm here, Michael Patrick.
Oh, good. Thanks for being available. Well, when did you first get the call that you were being vetted for this position?
Well, there had been some rumblings and some discussions for some time, but it was really just the day before yesterday when I got the call from Rick to say that he had chosen me if I would accept.
Was the vetting process very rigorous?
Yeah, it was pretty substantial. I mean, I think they really wanted to make sure that they found somebody that's a good fit for Rick, that was a good fit for Michigan, and so I was glad to participate. I want all the success in the world to him and the agenda that he's trying to push through. And so any way that I could help, whether that was to be in the state senate as a partner working with him in the state senate, or at his side helping to usher through the bills that will accompany the changes that need to be made here in Michigan, using my relationships in the House and the Senate, I was happy to do it either way.
How many times did you meet with him personally to discuss the possibility, if you did?
Well, we met on one occasion face to face. In terms of after the vetting process had started, but of course we had spent some time together before that throughout the campaign. When you're running for office, when you have two people running for office, you tend to show up at some of the same things.
What was the most important thing that Rick Snyder wanted to hear from you in order to pick you as his running mate? What did he ask you lots of questions about?
Well, I think a lot of it is just this idea of leaving behind the selfishness in politics, the insatiable appetite to take credit for anything and throw blame and other people under the bus, and the lack of relationships that we see today in the process. So we really need to just drop these fights that are generations old and just say, it's time for everybody to get on board with the right agenda for Michigan, not for any particular party, not for any particular group or region, but just to say, we're putting Michigan first, and that's it.
Well, while he was interviewing you, I suppose to some degree, since you are one of the rising stars here at the age of 33, two-term a member of the House of Representatives, and probably were a shoo-in to win your Senate seat there, you were interviewing him at the same time, I'm guessing. What was important to you for you to, go from a certain win to the state Senate to, an uncertain future with a general election for lieutenant governor?
This is really one of the most pivotal times in Michigan's history, and I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to really have a voice at the table. And I do believe that that Rick Snyder's the type of person that will build a team and utilize that team in order to make a difference, and to be part of that, and to see this the type of changes, the change in culture, the emphasis on Michigan's youth, our greatest natural resources, and keeping that right here. This focus on more and better jobs. I think that's all. Those are all things that attract me to Rick, and that attract so many people in Michigan to Rick. And it's time, and I looked at it as time for me to step up and do my part in turning the state around as part of Rick's team, if that is where he thought that I could best serve. I was happy to do it in the Senate, but I'm just thrilled to do it at his side.
Is he a good listener?
I found him to be an outstanding listener. I've seen him in action just throughout this campaign, and I think that's a big difference between Rick Snyder and many other people that are just involved in politics. People in politics love to hear themselves talk, and I've seen Rick take points of view from all across the spectrum to show respect to people, and to take in, to truly listen and take in the information and process it and use it to make decisions. And that's the sort of thing where you're not always going to agree on things, but when people can see that Rick Snyder is the type of guy who will respect and listen, the answers and the solutions and the proposals, I think they'll be widely accepted.
Is he naive to the legislative process?
I wouldn't call him naive, because I think he recognizes the idea that he needs the relationships to move these ideas from his head through fruition, and so that's part of this selection of me as lieutenant governor. Is I do have relationships in the House, certainly where I serve now. Most of the people that will be in the Senate next year are people that are currently in the House with me today. And so those relationships are established. They're very, very strong, and not just with the Republicans. I've made an effort, I made a concerted effort to establish relationships across the entire Capitol. When in Michigan, it's what we call a swing state, right? So that means that it's often divided government, and that if you're going to get anything done, it's going to take some cooperation among people from both parties.
Did Rick Snyder talk at all about whether he plans to run for 1 or 2 terms?
Yeah, I never discussed that with Rick. I sure hope it's 2.
And then if he does serve 2, or even if he serves 1, it must have occurred to you by now that you're in the line of succession were he to be elected to be the governor yourself.
You know, the lieutenant governor position is one that does not usually turn out to be the real successor to the governor. So I haven't really given any thought or credence to this idea of my political future. In fact, I decided to set that aside right now in order to have a real voice at the table today in reinventing Michigan. So I'm just excited to be part of it.
Are you saying that the lieutenant governor position is a dead-end job?
I certainly wouldn't say that. I've been real pleased to see the way that Dick Postumus, for example, I think one of the most honorable lieutenant governors we've ever had, is very, very successful out there creating jobs today, and in the private sector. And we've seen others. Milliken, for example, did go on to be governor. So I'm not asking for anybody to feel sorry for the lieutenant governor position. That's for sure.
Do you know who came in second to you?
Came in second on the vetting process. I don't know. I read all of the news reports and so forth, but it was never revealed to me exactly who else was being considered.
Okay, let me ask you the Sarah Palin question. What news sources do you look at?
Well, I typically, when I'm watching TV, I watch Fox, but Michael Patrick Shields in the morning.
Okay. See, you answered it much better than Sarah Palin, I would say, wouldn't you? Congratulations. It'll be interesting to see now who runs in your place for the state Senate seat there. Do you have any interest in who that person will be?
There's an embarrassment of riches in this district. There's just some outstanding opportunities for the citizens to the executive committees around the county to look at, and I don't think they can go wrong with a lot of these picks.
All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations. We'll be talking along the way and down the road, too.
All right. Thanks, Michael Patrick. Great to be here.
Thank you very much. Brian Calley, now the running mate of Rick Snyder on the GOP side. Rick Snyder, if he is governor, will have Brian Calley as his lieutenant governor.